In this video, we're going to be looking at how you can score as close to full marks as possible in your AQA GCSE Physics Paper 1 exam. So as with my other videos, these are my last minute notes that I would be producing maybe the day or two before the exam, the last things that I'm not completely convinced on that I can look at just before I go into the exam hall. It's like a little reference sheet. Now, I've said this in multiple places, but for me, doing well in physics is all about knowing those equations off by heart, because only if you know the correct order in which you input the numbers will you actually be able to solve the equation. So make sure you've learnt those. And one thing I would do at the start of the exam is spend a couple of minutes scribbling on one of the blank pieces of paper within the exam paper, and I'd effectively be making my own little equation sheet. So these are the equations you'd be needing for paper 1. Kinetic energy is half of mass times velocity squared. Gravitational potential energy equals mass times gravity times height. Change in energy, remember change is represented by the triangle, is mass times specific heat capacity times change in temperature. So this is quite an unusual looking equation. So I'm going to label what these terms mean. So that's change in temperature, specific heat capacity, which tends to be 4.2, and then mass, and then lastly change in energy. Moving on to the formula triangles now, which I'm a big proponent of. Starting with this one, we play tennis. Remember, to use a formula triangle, you simply cover the term you're after. So if I'm after work done, I can see that it is power times time. If I'm after power, then I can see that it's work done divided by time. Don't forget your units. The unit of power is watts. The unit of work done is joules. You may be asked to calculate efficiency, and so to do that you need to do useful energy out divided by total energy in. And it's often given as a percentage, which is why I'm multiplying by 100. In terms of electricity, this equation triangle is very important. So quit, where Q is charge, I is current, and T is time. If we're after charge, therefore, we can see that we do current times time. If we're after current, we do charge divided by time. And if we're after time, we do charge divided by current. A second equation you'll need to know is VIR, or vets in rain, as I used to remember when I was doing my exams. That tells me that voltage or potential difference is current times resistance. Current is voltage divided by resistance. Resistance is voltage divided by current. In terms of your units, the unit of resistance is ohms. The units of voltage is volts. The units of current is amps. How about energy transferred? How would we calculate that? Well, it's energy transferred equals current times voltage times time. Don't forget the equation linking density, mass and volume. Drunk men vomit, so we can see here that density equals mass divided by volume. Volume is mass divided by density, and mass is density times volume. If we're asked to calculate the energy required for a change in state, then we use this equation. So E stands for energy, M stands for mass, L stands for specific latent heat. So that's everything I wanted to say about equations. But now, what would be on my last minute notes? So in my last minute notes, I would make some notes on radioactivity. It's never been my favourite topic. So here I'm comparing alpha, beta and gamma radiation. Notice that alpha is the most ionising, whereas gamma is the least ionising. Beta has an intermediate ionising power. In terms of their penetrating power, this reverses, so alpha is the least penetrating, gamma is the most penetrating. So in the final column, I've discussed what they're stopped by. Now, alpha decay is stopped by paper, beta is stopped by aluminium foil, and gamma is stopped by a few centimetres of lead sheeting, and that's because it is the most penetrating. Now, next up, remember that when radioactive isotopes decay, they give off radiation. So what happens if alpha decay occurs? You just have to learn this. 2 protons and 2 neutrons are released. So what do you get out of that? Well, it means you're going to have a new element because its proton number has changed, with an atomic number, because remember that's the same as the proton number, which is 2 less than it was before, and a mass number which is 4 less than before. The reason for that is because the proton and the neutrons both have a mass of 1. Because we're losing 4 of them, our mass number decreases by 4. So I'm just going to give you a quick example. If uranium-230 decays, we're going to get a new element, and notice, according to what I said, the mass number will decrease by 4, so that becomes 226. The atomic number decreases by 2, so that's now 90, and we've produced an alpha particle. What about beta decay now? Well, here a neutron turns into a proton and stays within the atom, so you're going to get a new element formed with an atomic number which has increased by 1, because you've effectively gained a proton. The mass number will have stayed the same, because remember the proton and the neutron have the same mass. So let's do an example again. Got carbon-14 here, so we're going to get a new element with a mass number which is the same as the original mass number, but the atomic number will have gone up by 1. One thing I'd also make a note on is static electricity. Now this is when there's a buildup of charge, and it only occurs with electrical insulators, e.g. plastic. It doesn't occur with electrical conductors such as metals, and that's because metals allow the free movement of electrons, so you can't get that buildup of charge. One thing they do like to ask you is, a man was walking across a plastic carpet. Explain why he felt a shock when he touched the metal handle on a door. It doesn't really matter what they're asking, but the answer, I promise, is always the same. So the shock is due to, number 1, the transfer of electrons, and number 2, by friction. I can't reiterate enough how important that is. Why did a girl's hair stand up on end when she slid down a plastic slide? That's due to the transfer of electrons by friction. Why would the same have not occurred if she slid down a metal slide? Well, that's because metal is an electrical conductor, so the electrons are free to move. Don't forget to learn your electrical symbols. So this is a bulb, here's a resistor, an arrow going through that resistor, then it's a variable resistor. If you have a hockey stick going through the resistor, then it's a temperature dependent resistor or a thermistor. The box this time with a horizontal line is a fuse. Now we've got a voltmeter, an ammeter, an open switch, a closed switch. This funny looking play button is known as a diode, and it allows current to flow in one direction only. If the arrow is coming towards it, then it's a light dependent diode or an LED. That's really all I wanted to say in this video. Make sure you do answer every single question. Don't forget my all-in-one videos for both trilogy and single science exist, so you can watch the whole specification through on those videos. And if you like the sorts of perfect answers I'm using in these videos, then go check out the revision guides on the websites.